Good afternoon. My name is Samantha Hudson. I am a therapeutic day treatment counselor in the public school setting. I work with elementary age children that have experienced trauma and have an array of mental illness such as anxiety disorders, depression, mood disorders, and so forth. The purpose of this assignment is to highlight a recent group activity conducted. So I have chosen the Let It Go. The Let It Go activity is taking these children from worriers to warriors. They are essentially letting go of those fears and worries that hold them back from gaining their full potential. So within this exercise, children enter the room. The warm up for this exercise is a short story. The short story engages the children. Everybody sits and listens. The story talks about worries and fears, and they're easily identifiable with the characters in the story. So I usually use short stories as kind of a pull me in warm up activity to set the pace and to establish the purpose of today's group, or that day's group. So once we did that, I had a jar. Within that jar, there are pieces of paper. The jar is passed around, and I asked the children, would you please pick one worry, one fear that bothers you the most or stands out to you the most, and place it back in the jar. Nobody knows whose fear is what. I'm avoiding spotlighting at that point. We're still kind of warming up. We're still kind of beginning the engagement process within the group. So everybody participated this go round. Put it in the jar. I take the jar, I shake it up real good, and then put it in my lap. Then we deepen the thought process a little bit more. So I ask if anybody would like to tell the group what fear and worry means to them. I usually get an array of different answers. Being first through fourth graders, you can only imagine some of the answers we get, but it gets them engaged, gets them going into the purpose of the group and understanding what we're focusing upon. So then I ask further deepening questions. When we're scared, or if we see somebody else scared, we can see their body language and tell, right? And they're like, yeah, people's eyes get big, or they may shake, or, we can always tell, you can tell when somebody is scared. And so then I deepen it a little bit further. But what about when we are scared and we have feelings inside that nobody can see on the outside? So then as I kind of scan the group, you start to kind of see the thought processes going, the wheels turning. I may even see some children begin to withdraw at that point because they're relating to this feeling. But then we start to discuss some of the things that we may feel inside. In this particular group, I had a client describe that her fear feels like a bunch of electrical shocks in her body, and she just feels like that her organs, her insides are shaking. Well, that is a perfect, colorful explanation from a child describing anxiety, and now I can get a clear grasp of what he or she is feeling during those moments of worry or fear. So once we go around, I allow children to share that want to. I start to self-disclose. Here's some of my fears. I fear ... And you see the kids kind of engage a little further and look and, okay, she's scared too sometimes. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to have worry. But when it begins to hold us back or begins to take over our problem solving skills to where we make not necessarily the best choices because of those fears, that's when we need to start looking into that and finding a way to solve this and move past this. So the last phase in the group is our balloons. So I pull out the balloons. I have a little helium tank that I keep in my office that I keep primarily for this group exercise from year to year. And the kids are offered to take more sheets of paper, because by this point everybody's kind of warmed up. Everybody understands. They were able to place their fears in that jar and me read through them without spotlighting. But now they're eager and they're willing to participate and see where this goes. So all the children are able to write down multiple fears. I think the most I had was 4 out of a child. They are invited to share if they would like to, but many of them don't. I mean, out of a group of 7, I had 2 that were willing to share. Then after that, we place them in the balloons, we take them outside, and we let them go. This is an excellent group activity for children. The feedback that I get on the next session from these children is enormous. I mean, I had kids tell me, you know, when I start to feel this way, whether I'm in the car or the classroom or at home, I remember the balloons, Miss Hudson, I remember the balloons. So it is a way to establish a good rapport. It stays true to the purpose. Just remember, when you're leading children, to make sure that it's structured, make sure that you're guiding the session in a routine fashion, and that you plan before every session, because warming up does take time. Thank you for your time tonight. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice evening.